not the podcast you are looking for.
If you're looking for the same old content delivered by the same old people, you are on the wrong pod.
This podcast has life form. You are listening to Stache and Lash.
You're listening to Stache and Lash, the show where we talk about everything that unites us as Mexicans.
One living in the U.S. and one living in Mexico. The Stache and Lash Show. Is this thing on?
Hi,
Welcome.
everybody.
Hello, this is El Stache Show.
And the Lash Show.
The Lash Show.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. How are
Welcome,
you, my friend?
everybody. Welcome. Todos bienvenidos. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for following us. For our fans that are stuck with us for 3 episodes. 1, 2, 3. Now 4. Welcome, everybody. Gabi, I like your nails. It look very Halloween-y already.
Yeah, we're getting into Halloween mood. Slowly but surely. Look at my ring. So badass.
Welcome.
Yes, we have sound effects now, people. We are growing and improving, and we are listening.
It's getting better. And I found actually we got some sound effects from her voice. This is Gabi's voice.
OMG.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, that's totally me.
Totally her. So, Gabi, thank you. Today we've been teasing it. We've been teasing this all week.
Yes.
We've been getting some good guests from folks, but not a lot of people have been guessing it, Gabi. We've been telling people, hey, we have a good episode. We're teasing who we're going to talk about, and some folks are just a little off. They're just not quite getting it.
Yes, exactly. And a couple of them are actually like, I will be offended if it wasn't this particular character. So we are again talking about somebody that we admire, that we have like a great love for. Actually, in my case, I adore him. I adore him. And again, we are going back to the Mexican theme. Who are we going to talk about, my friend?
Well, again, our whole concept is what unites us as Mexicans from different sides of the border.
Yeah.
And one of the characters that we talked about, we actually talked about this in a previous episode.
Yeah.
Is the one and only we call El Inmortal, Pedro Infante. What?
El Inmortal Pedro Infante. That is right, everybody.
I need to find one that's like a chiflado.
Yeah. Oh, don't get me started because I'm going to blow up my microphone. But yes. I can do that. Like in the stadiums, I'm like a, yeah.
All right.
In another episode, we can
just do a soft one. Do a soft one.
Got it?
Oh, Gabi, really? Hey, keep it. Wow.
Oh my God.
Damn.
Not
All right.
me.
She's already started drinking her sponsored drink.
Okay. What are you drinking? I wish we can have a sponsorship from these people. Topo Chico.
Just drinking a little bit of some Canadian whiskey that I got from a present. So
Nice.
There you go.
Listen to this, people.
Oh, there's the ASMR right there.
ASMR right there. That one is coming.
I wish I had a sound effect for that. I don't think I have one. Bummer. You have the real sound effect. We don't even need a sound effect. That was like the actual
real thing.
the real deal.
Exactly. So
back to the topic.
Back to the topic.
So we covered that. So Pedro Infante. So the first thing is, first of all, we assume, we hope that a lot of you know who he is. If you don't, I don't know. That's pretty sad right there. But we all know who he is. But we're going to talk a little bit about him first. Really, just kind of talk about what we know, his story. You know, we've been listening to a lot of his music during the day. We've kind of been doing a little bit of research, just trying to figure out who is this man that we all grew up with.
Yes.
We'll talk about our connection with him as well. How do we get introduced to Pedro Infante, or the Pedro Infante effect? We'll talk about some of his accomplishments, and then we'll wrap up to really talk about his current legacy. Where does it stand now? Maybe some urban myths that exist and have gone around, right?
Yep.
So, Gabi, you're my research guru. What did you find out about Mr. Pedro Infante?
So, Pedro Infante, el ídolo de México, el Inmortal, he was born in Sinaloa in 1917 to a... What is that? Okay, yeah, that's Pedro Infante as a baby. Okay, moving on.
I threw you off. You're like, you got me one like this. Like, what?
I was like, what?
Did I drop one?
Again? Two? No, not again. Not again.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Yeah. So he was born in Sinaloa in 1917. I don't think. Yeah, he had like one or two brothers, I believe. I don't remember exactly.
I think he was. I think when I saw that, they said he was the one of 15 kids, but only like 9 survived in the
like
initial birth. Yeah. So again, typical Mexican family in that era, right? I mean, my mom, my grandparents had about 12 kids.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. And yeah, he got, I think, a job in a radio station when he was invited to sing, and shortly after he got his first big contract to record an actual album, and this was back in 1940 something. So yeah, and he got like discovered, and he was like very charismatic and very sweet and very caring and very handsome, and he portrayed like exactly this image of the charro mexicano that could sing and that was very charming. Again, he was a very likable man, and of course he was a ladies' man. We will talk about that later. And he found out that he could sing. His mom also was a singer, so he got that from his mom. And
I think his dad was like a music teacher también or something.
Yes.
So it was in his blood. Like
it was in his blood.
Yeah, and he can play a lot of instruments también. I think there was a story that I saw that he he did a lot of just basic humbling jobs, right? Like field and stuff. One of them was carpentry.
Yeah, they said that he was not like the very gifted child at school, so he dropped school and he started doing like a lot of this jobs and oficios, like carpinteria, and he was very good at it. And actually, one of his first one of the first things he built was a guitar. So from there, exactly, he's starting playing with.
Hold on, let me get my guitar. Keep going.
Yeah, really? Oh yeah, okay. And with a friend, he started playing, and he got a job in this station where they. Oh my god, that's adorable.
This is an actual life-size guitar, so I'm a big guy. So this is like a real one, not a ukulele. So you know.
There's when it comes to the little drums, like.
What? That wasn't a joke. That was frills.
Okay, moving on. Exactly. And yeah, he got discovered, and he got a bunch of movie roles, and he was, I think, in over 60 movies.
Over 60 movies. That's a lot of movies.
That's a lot of movies, and in that short range of time, because we're talking about like late 40s, something like that.
Well, I think he passed away.
He passed in 57.
He was 39, 38.
He was 39. Yes, he was.
So he
39.
was younger than us.
Yes, he was.
What? Man, yes. Look at that. That's, man, I don't know what his secret was back then. It was probably tequila and learning. I don't know.
Oh, funny story. He didn't drink. He didn't. And yeah, this was like very shocking. I knew this already, but he didn't drink in real life, and a lot of his characters were like this very
borracho.
Yeah, and singing drunk, and this heartbroken drunk in this cantina, and being like, oh yeah, and he didn't drink. He barely.
I didn't know that, Gabby. So that's
yes.
that you did your research very well. Good,
yes.
That's
I knew that. Mm-hmm.
And here's a picture of him when he was at the radio, right? When he was doing the radio, trying to break in. Because I think you also mentioned that he's originally from Sinaloa, right?
Yeah.
And then he kind of was raised still in that area, but what was it? His town?
Guamuchil.
Sounds. Have you been there?
No.
It sounds like a cool place. It sounds like a fun name too, Guamuchil. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I was looking at this documentary earlier, and whole Guamuchil town is dedicated to his memory. Like there is a street called Pedro Infante. There's a huge museum. The house where he grew up is like a sanctuary. And yeah, Guamuchil is all about Pedro Infante. They have like this big statue and a park in town. So yeah, it will be interesting to go. I mean, like me as a big fan of his, it would be interesting to go and see what's the museum like.
Yeah. I didn't even know. So that's another destination to go, right? To go check out. I'm curious to know anybody who's listening.
And you're closer.
Am I? Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, you're right. I was thinking Mexico's like far away from me, but it's right there.
No, it's below you actually. Exactly.
Hola.
You're on top of your
Yeah. That's okay. Yeah, I was like, okay, let's move on before it gets. I'm gonna be able to go, but it's not working. Never mind. Okay, there you go.
Okay,
sound effects.
moving on.
Failure. So adding to that, so yeah, I'm curious enough of the folks that are listening and watching us. Have you been there? If you have, tell us about it. You know, I mean, I would love to know because I want to go visit. Gabi, I don't know if it's on your list, but now it's on my list. Of
course. Yeah, it is.
It's the museum, y todo, las calles, everything is dedicated to him. But I really like his story. Well, let's move into a little more about some of the controversy stuff in his life. Because a lot of the women that he pursued were kind of young. One of the girls were like 15.
Yeah, Irma Dorantes was actually 14, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
wow.
They met when she was 14, and I think they got married when she was 16. 16, something like that. But yeah, but that is not only the only controversy about that, because he was still married.
Yeah.
To his previous wife, and he married Irma Dorantes.
Like he faked, I think it was like a fake, like he faked documents that he got divorced or something, and it became a big controversy.
Yeah, exactly. So marriage got like, how do you say that?
Annulled or?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So, he got in a bit of trouble because of that. And he actually got married very young. He was 20 to his first wife, I believe. And then he had another like mistress and in between. And then he got with Irma Dorantes.
Well, I think you've had also several children, right? Outside of his
I think he had 5. I think he had 5 because with his first wife, what I heard is that she was unable to have children. And then she met Lupita Torrentera, and he had, I think, 2 children with her. And then with Irma Dorantes, he has 1.
And I think he adopted like a niece.
Yes, a niece,
yeah.
Exactly. And she unfortunately died.
Yeah. So again, interesting controversy in his life, right? With dealing with what he was, the stuff that was going. I mean, was that normal back then? I mean, I don't know, but. Was that something that wasn't frowned upon? Because nowadays, no, don't even, like.
Oh no, I mean, like right now, everything is out there. Everything like it's available. You can take a picture, record anything everywhere. And back then, I don't know. They interviewed one of the women he was with, and they knew about his affairs.
Mm-hmm.
They knew, and they were like, okay. I mean, I don't think they were like, oh, cool, keep on. But it was like common,
Yeah.
And
well, I think he also had an arrangement. One of the interviews of one of his daughters, I think, talked about how him and his mom and his dad Pedro had an agreement saying that he would pay her some money or whatever, a certain amount, maybe un millón de pesos.
Mm-hmm.
If he would pay her half of what he makes, as long as he can do what he wants, something like that.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So don't get any ideas, guys. That's not gonna gonna fly nowadays.
No.
Don't even try.
No. Don't try.
Yeah.
But he had a lot of, and again, he was like so charming and so handsome and so charismatic. And I mean, if a guy could sing to me like that and talk to me like that, like of course I was gonna be like, So he was like, he was a ladies' man.
He was a ladies' man. And again, I mean, if you said that he wasn't really into drinking, which I was shocked. Well, I guess his weakness was
Women, of course.
He
And
was, mhm.
another funny story I saw in this documentary is that they interviewed this childhood friend. And he was like, oh, he was always like that. Like he was like so young, and he was like teasing teachers and going after the girls. And I mean, he was like a very, very, very uh, with the ladies from a very, very young age.
Very flirtatious.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
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 Yeah. He was he was very confident. Very
Yeah.
confident man. You know, like you said, good looking. But here's another thing, right? So let's go into how do we learn about him? So do you remember your first, I would say, exposure to him, or the first memory that you have of, you know, Pedro Infante when you were
Yeah, I
younger?
remember very, 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 very young. My mom playing his cassettes in the car, and I remember asking, like, "Who's that?" And like she told me, and the shocking thing to me is that, I mean, even when I was younger, he had passed like a long time before, and is like, oh, and he's still relevant. Like later on, I was like, oh, good, and my mom still listens to him, and we are still like to this day. That's why you asked earlier, like if you're Mexican or if you have this background, there's no way you don't know about him, like at all. I don't know, maybe worldwide, and this is the good thing about this, because now you know. for everybody that's listening to us right now you know about him. But yeah, I remember I was very young and I listened to him in the car, and later on it was like my guilty pleasure, if you will.
Well, I think he had that voice that just like made you, you know, just, I don't know what it was, but it was, I mean, I compare him to like the Sinatra of Mexico.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like he
maybe.
had that voice, that silky smooth voice that was not like high pitch. It wasn't too low. It was just that right mix. I was like, wow.
And the feeling, and again, those love songs are like, oh, so deep and touching. And yeah, again, him, like just seeing him in the movies singing. Yeah.
My first exposure was a little different. It wasn't really the songs, it was the movies. So my dad, I remember at a young age, he bought this huge like series of movies, and he brought it came in the, I don't know if he got in the mail. Oh no, I think he went to Mexico, and he came back from Mexico, and he came back with this big box, and this is like VCR, VHS, right? And they were a bunch of movies of Pedro Infante and a bunch of movies of Cantinflas. So, and then even then, I do recall watching it on TV, right? So there were, when they would be the weekends or what have you, they would come on. He brought all of them, so I would sit there and watch them all. Like I would watch them, I would enjoy them. I just, again, something about that era, where like we talked about this before, right? With family, I just love what it was always parties. A lot of times we look at like the British, like we were talking about the British and their parties, their teas and their big old areas. But in Mexico, it was very similar, but it was a fiesta, right? And it was like you celebrated every milestone, a wedding, a funeral, bautismo. I mean, it was every event that you can think of was a big event, right? Everybody would dress up in their charro outfits and their beautiful dresses. Man, the comida, I mean, there would be food for days.
Tequila.
Yeah. And according to Pedro Infante, women, right? So,
of course.
and the music, the beautiful music, and the charros and all that, and I just love that. I just gravitated towards that, and that's what I remember. My earlier memories was the movies, and of course then the music, and then now I even appreciate even more, especially the music. I appreciate the music more, even the movies, but the music more now than when I was a kid. The kid was mostly the movies, right?
Yeah.
So that's when we talked about that voice, right? That silky, like one of the ones that I'm just like blown away is when he's singing Bésame Mucho, but in English. And I was just like,
really?
Dude, that is, man, like if I had that voice, watch out.
That's what I'm telling you. I can picture him on my balcony singing to me, and I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, like the serenata. Can you imagine a serenata with Pedro Infante? I would like die right there.
I would too.
Yes.
I would die too. I'll be like, oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
I'm like, okay, Pedrito,
Yes,
keep going.
I'm all yours. Pedrito.
I'm all yours,
Pedrito.
Pedrito. Pedrito ven pa' acá. But so again, that's how we got exposed to him. So let's talk about his movies, right, and some of his accomplishments in his music. So in regards to his movies, let me pull up a screen really quick of some of the movies, but I just put some of my favorite. There's so many good ones. I mean, 60, Gabby.
60. That's a lot.
I don't think I've seen all 60.
Oh
Probably
no,
close,
no.
But
Oh no.
not even. I don't think I even know that there was that many.
I have my favorites, like for sure.
Okay, so here's mine.
Oh yeah.
So Los Tres Garcia, Los Tres Huastecos, Nosotros los Pobres, Pepe Toro, and A Toda Máquina.
Toda Máquina. A Toda Máquina is one of my favorites. A Toda Máquina is one of my favorites. Him and Luis Aguilar on the motorcycles singing Parece que va a llover. El cielo. I love it. And that character of Pedro Chavez, I think that's what his name was in that movie. It's hilarious. It's like him. I can picture him. And another thing, if you recall that movie, he ate a lot. And he was always eating.
Yeah.
And he had this amazing ice cream called Pedro Chavez Special. And I am dying. I wish there was somewhere I could order that ice cream, because it was like a big sundae with bananas and whipped cream and sprinkles and cherries. I don't know. It was amazing. Like this huge ice cream, and it's funny because he went to this ice cream place and he was like, the usual. Okay, yeah, Pedro Chavez Special. And there was this huge amazing ice cream made just for him and named after him, and it was amazing.
Okay, I gotta look up this ice cream now.
Pedro Chavez Special.
And it still exists. You can still order it.
No, that's what I'm saying. I wish there was a place where I could go and order a Pedro Chavez Special, because this is amazing ice cream. And that's another thing about him. He was a compulsive eater. He was like very fit, and he was very toned, and he would worry much about his body. But this particular thing about this character in this movie is that he ate a lot, and he was like very muy tragón, as we say. And that was true about him. He did that in real life.
He ate a lot. Yeah, but to your point, he was he was really into sports, right?
Yes.
So I heard a lot that he was into swimming, running, boxing, and of course, I don't think call piloting thing in the exercise, but he was very not only was he athletic, but he was also a junkie when it comes to like jumping off planes and all that. What do you call that? Adrenaline junkie. That's the word.
Yeah.
He was an adrenaline junkie because he had like a few accidents in the plane before the main one too. So
3.
It didn't even stop him. That's an adrenaline junkie.
Yeah. But yes, those of your 5 movies, 3 of those are my favorite too. And I can add Dos Tipos de Cuidado.
Okay. I can't remember that one. I'm trying to remember that one. Maybe that's one of my favorite, but
Pedro Infante and Jorge Negrete.
Oh, of course.
And they're singing.
When they're battling.
Exactly.
They're doing like a rap battle, but mariachi edition. Yes, I know that one. Okay, I forgot that one. What was it called again?
Dos Tipos de Cuidado.
Yes. Okay. So that one,
is one of
add
my
that one to
favorite
the
movies.
list.
Yes, that is one of my favorite movies. Toda Máquina, Tres Huastecos, Tres Garcia, y Dos Tipos de Cuidado. There you go.
There's I came across a YouTube video. I wish we can share these, but it's all copyrighty, todo eso that they I don't know who owns the rights now, but maybe that guy who stole the money. We'll get to that in this family. But there's a clip where it shows that scene with him and Negrete going after each other. And then there's a scene of Cantinflas in one where he's at a wedding. He's getting married. And he also has a battle with somebody else. But what they do is they make it sound like Pedro Infante and Cantinflas are battling each other, going back and forth. And that was perfect, the way the editing was. If you look it up on YouTube, put like Pedro Infante battle with Cantinflas or something, it's hilarious.
Did you know that Pedro Infante was a huge Cantinflas fan?
No.
Like huge. Like one of his wives said that he would sit and watch and watch and watch over and over Cantinflas movies.
What?
So
And I don't think they've ever were in a movie.
I don't think they were.
I can't recall of a situation where I seen them in a movie. He's been with a lot of actors and actresses in that golden era.
Yeah.
Right? Like I think of Tintan. I can
Yeah.
recall one with him and Tintan.
Yeah.
Piporro.
Yeah.
Is one. That guy was, famous. La abuelita
María
de México,
Félix.
María Félix.
Silvia Pinal.
Mhm.
Elsa Aguirre, Blanca Estela Pavón. Oh my God, I can
Jorge
go like
Negrete, as we talked
forever.
about.
Jorge
Yeah.
Negrete, Luis Aguilar, Abel Salazar,
Oh, yeah.
which was in the Tres Garcia. I don't remember the name of the other Garcia cousin, but yeah.
I mean,
he was
so
with a lot of
so
people.
many in that era, but I don't know what Cantinflas. That's interesting. That was one of his favorite. Wow.
Yeah. He was a huge Cantinflas fan. Yeah.
That would have been a great movie. I think that if I would have saw that, that would have been one of my favorite, because Pedro Infante also did a lot of comedies, but also he had a good mix. A lot of it was comedies in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is unfortunate because it would have been a very cool movie, and actually I think Cantinflas was at his funeral, if I'm remembering correctly. He was like in the funeral. Yeah. So, talking about movies, I want to bring up a very interesting topic. I don't know what you think, because this is one of your favorite movies.
Okay.
Los Tres Huastecos. So you remember the storyline. It's three brothers. They're triplets. And they're
they're orphaned. They get separated.
They get separated, and one is a priest, and one is a charro. And
like a gambler.
Yeah. And well, back then, I mean, we're talking about 1950 something, and the effects. Do you remember that movie where the three of them were together? And this was like huge back in the day.
Yeah,
like
that was like the latest
editing.
That was like a breakthrough.
Yeah, exactly. So that was like pretty funny. And again, you were talking about his funny characters, and this movie has like this funny segments here and there. But again, talking about like 1950 something and having this kind of editing back in that day, it's pretty awesome. And seeing him without a mustache, and the other character, he has like this huge like Stache, like you, exactly,
cigar
mustache, exactly. And it was very funny, and he was funny himself. Like every person that got interviewed in this documentary, he was like he was so sweet. He was always trying to help people. Like this is another thing that he was always like trying to going to another subject. He was like in this town, I don't remember where, but he was like, hey, I have a gift for you all. And like thousands of people showed up just to see him, of course, and see what he was giving away. And I think he was giving money or food or something like that. But he was like very, very, very giving and very caring about everyone.
I remember that story too. I remember that story, that he would go and he would be very generous with his money. But also, I mean, and then we're going to get to this eventually, but that also what ended up, costing him and his family his money, right? Because he was not good with it. So he trusted other people with his money. But, that's an unfortunate thing about, folks who are very, very giving, but also people take advantage of them. I mean, we talked about Bob Ross as another example.
Yeah.
Pedro Infante is also somebody who, there's some similarities here. Oh, watch out. Pedro Infante, ladies man. Bob Ross, ladies man. Both artistic.
Soothing voices.
Yeah. Seducing, charming. Yeah. Okay. All right. Watch out. The Bob Ross, you got competition here. But let me, I'm glad you brought up about the Tres Huastecos, because that was definitely a breakthrough. You look at it now, and even you probably don't even think it twice, because we see that now. It's typical, right? CGI, toda esa madre. But now it's like, back then, it's like, breakthrough. You're like, people are probably, I bet a lot of the women are like, ¿hay tres?
There's three of them. Exactly.
They probably have their favorite one. I like the cura. He's really nice. Or,
yeah.
I like the one in the bike, the police, man. He's really,
I like the soldier. I like
the soldier, yeah. But the other one, which I find some of, then you look back at some of the other movies, and the technology was not the greatest, right? And that was the Toda Máquina. when they're in the bike,
And bikes,
and you can see the screen. It looks all funny, and they're just like this, standing
you
there the
can
whole
see
time.
the doubles. You can see the doubles. Yeah.
They're
But
just walking, they're going, yeah, yep, and then they show him actually driving and doing these maneuvers. 100% is like that's not him.
and he was actually pretty good on a bike. He
Mhm.
also owned bikes, and
He had a Harley.
Yeah. He got this escuadrón de motociclistas, de los policías de tránsito. They had him, and they instructed him, and he took lessons to do this acrobatic stuff, which, by the way, they still exist to this day.
Oh, do they in Mexico?
Yeah.
Fun
And
fact.
it was but yeah, you of course there was like this stunts that of course they were not letting him do them, and you can see perfectly the double guy. But it was so funny. But again, that is also a very great movie.
It was a very good movie, and even though you can, some of that stuff is a little cheesy, and like I said, you can see the projector and moving, and they're just standing there. But then there was some scenes in transition. But even then, right? I mean, for that era, that was breakthrough. Imagine you sitting in the movie theater and watching that, you're just like blown away, right?
Yeah.
You're just like you couldn't tell the difference. Now we're like, what the heck is that? But put that aside, a lot of the stories were just the storytelling of these movies are really good. They had a good story all the way around, and you're just so immersed in those characters, and I love that. I was always like, even as a little kid, I was just like, even now when I watch it, I'm amazed.
Those storylines are timeless, and that type of character is timeless. Like,
Yeah.
I heard this phrase and I loved it, and I kept it: el charro enamorado y el mejor amigo de todos. Like, that's how I can think about him. Like, yeah, he was like this ladies' man with his charro outfit, and very charismatic, and singing and being all friendly, but is also like a very good friend. If you can think about his movies, like A Toda Máquina, Los Tres Huastecos, Dos Tipos de Cuidado, it's always around friendship as well. And that's
friendship,
very good.
And it's also a rivalry to go after the lady.
The lady, exactly.
Always
because
the conquest.
there's always this girl that is like, get away from me. And he was like, whoa, okay, I'm going after you.
Like all of them paying attention, but that one doesn't, and he's just like, you're going to be mine.
Exactly, that's the one I want.
And it's funny. I think that's very in our culture. Not today. Today you're gonna get in trouble, but back then, what?
For stalking?
For stalking. Worse than stalking. Like, my grandma tells a story that my grandpa got on a horse, walked up to her while she was like picking stuff outside. I don't know if it was like crops or no sé qué. Who comes up to her and picks her up, puts her on her horse, and takes her. And then eventually he stole her. Married her.
That's a very common story as well.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, he stole her, and they got married. I'm like, what? Yeah. That happened.
It's worse than stalking. This is like next level stalking,
Yeah. Can you imagine right now? Like, okay, yeah, he's downstairs. I'm taking you with me, and we're getting married right now. Okay.
All of a sudden, we're in the podcast, and Gabi gets taken. We're like, what Gabi? Where are you going? We'll be right back, folks, as we figure out. We'll invite you to the wedding.
But yeah, that happened. That
was common, right?
Grandma married your grandpa because he stole her. Oh my god.
Yeah, and this is the same. This is actually it's actually my great grandpa. So correction, that's the one that was part of the Revolucionarios.
So adding up, he was like, soy un revolucionario. Come on,
yeah,
girl.
vámonos.
I'm taking you.
I'm taking you. You're picking flowers. All right, let's go.
That's awesome.
That's crazy, right? Like, I'm like, and I'm thinking like, man, yeah, I can't do that anymore. Man, that's a bummer. Even now, like, you know how you talk about like the serenatas and stuff? Nobody really does that anymore. Like, what do guys do to win over ladies? I'm gonna send them a text, right?
Or you send a Spotify link of a song, and hey, listen to this. That's it.
Or yeah, they're pictures, right? Every so going, like, here you go. This is what I have.
Oh my god. Yeah, but some people call it cheesy, but I think it was like super romantic. My dad used to take serenatas to my mom.
And it
was super sweet. I mean,
yeah,
I cannot picture right now a guy downstairs with a whole mariachi singing to me. Like, I will be like, dude, what are you doing?
You know what that reminds me of? I gotta pull out that meme. That meme of one of the guys from Bronco.
Yes, that he's outside the door with flowers and balloons. Yeah. Yes. I know that one.
That's what I pictured. Like if a guy is wanting to be a nice
Like, what are you
guy
doing here?
and doing that, and then they're just standing there with the door and he's with the other guy, just like, it's sad. It's sad. I mean, I don't think it works anymore, guys. I mean, as much as we want, and some women say, "Oh, that looks," but in real life, they're probably like, "That's weird. Get away." I mean,
Yeah, but that's sad. I mean, that's romantic in some way. I don't know.
But here's another. You gotta sing too, Gabby. Like Lash, come on. If you're a horrible singer,
Yeah, I guess.
and you you're a horrible singer and don't even look anything like Pedro Infante. You look like Pedro Infante's like I don't know, his lost brother that that lost an eye and looks that guy. You're gonna be like,
Oh.
thanks. There again, that meme walking in with the flowers.
Yeah, with flowers and blues. So we're talking about over 60 movies, and we're talking about over 300 songs. And in
300, yeah,
every movie,
Mm-hmm.
he had like at least like 2 or 3 songs. he
And I
sang
think
in the
and I
movie.
think that it's funny you brought that up when I was looking at that too. People here in the U.S., a lot of people don't. Some people like musicals. A lot of people hate musicals. And I was thinking that was like the musicals of Mexico, man, because they sang a lot. There was a lot of music, a lot of music.
singing, a
And
lot
I'm
of
like,
music, yeah.
when I hear people telling me that, I'm like, but do you like the Pedro Infante? They go, oh yeah, those are great movies. I'm like, that's a musical.
In a way, yeah, of course, in a way, because he was like trying to get to this girl, and he would like sing to her and follow her, and she was like, don't look at me. So it was it's this part of like a musical storyline,
Yeah.
where the story develops with the song. So yeah, it can be called a musical.
I mean, that's why I was like, that's a musical. But
Yeah.
I love those. Yeah, and to your music, yeah, there's a lot of good songs. It's funny. This section is what I'm gonna call. What would you listen to when you're drunk? F. All right.
Oh my gosh.
So we're going to. I'm gonna give you a top 10 of Pedro Infante's top 10 songs that I think are good songs to listen to when you're drunk.
When you're drunk, AF.
AF. Was that okay? Let me share.
I usually listen to him. I listen to Pedro Infante and Vicente Fernandez when I am drunkies.
Yep, I can. Those are like those are the go-to, 100%.
Right?
All right, here we go, Gabby.
Here we go.
So here we go. When you're drunk, F.
I think that is. Me alegro que ahora sufras.
And it's
Is that-
fun, maybe, but it's not real. Apparently, that's water, according to Gabby. Fun fact.
Yes,
All right.
because he didn't drink. Yeah, that is a fact, people.
Okay, so here we go. Number 10. Bésame mucho.
¿En español o en inglés?
Ooh, depending. If I'm in the
I've
US,
never heard the
English.
English.
If I'm in Mexico, Spanish.
Okay.
But the English one's awesome. Oh man.
I'm gonna listen to that. And he's singing that in English.
He's singing English in one of his movies, and I can't remember which one it was. So help me, folks, if you know.
Oh my god, I remember. Wait, yeah, I remember.
He's dressed in a suit.
In the like
Smoke.
tuxedo, something like that.
And he's got, like,
he's
yep, he's got
singing,
a
like, Sinatra. Yes, I remember.
Very
I remember.
Sinatra-like. Yeah. Okay.
Actually, is if I remember correctly, is A Toda Máquina, or the next one, which is called Te ha dado esa mujer, because
I think it's that one.
he's singing to this gringa, and I'm sorry, I'm putting that out because he says that, la gringuita. Yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah, and they're going, is
I
that
totally
Sinatra?
remember.
They're like, is that Sinatra?
Exactly, yes, I remember that now.
All right, Bésame Mucho, my number 10. Number 9,
Number 9,
Historia de Amor.
Historia de Amor.
That one's
You
the
know
one
that
I'm
one?
like, oh, I'm already.
Yeah, drinking. Let's drink. Oh my god.
Historia de Amor. Number 8,
Number 8.
Cuando Sale la Luna.
Oh, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. Please
There we go.
leave down below, or whatever the comment section is, your favorite Pedro Infante song.
Yep. Let me know if this is if I'm missing one for your top 10 when you're drunk.
I want to see. Yes, exactly. I want to see.
All right, number 7.
Number 7.
Entre Copa
Entre
y
Copa y
Copa.
Copa. Yes.
Mhm. That's
Okay.
another one. All
Okay.
right, number 6. No
No
volveré.
volveré. Oh my
Right?
God.
Like it's getting to you. You're starting to build up. You're like,
Yes.
okay, all right, Z, maybe I got a good list going. All right, number 5. Aunque me cueste la vida.
Yes.
And in a lot of these, he puts a lot of emotion. I'm like, oh.
And in a lot of songs, he's actually singing drunk. He's like, so you can hear the voice. Like, and that was funny because, I mean, if you don't drink, how can you? I mean, you can
see it.
You can
But
see
how
it
do you
in
channel
other
it?
people, but exactly, how can you Because
how do you channel what it feels like to be drunk?
Yeah.
Like you can see it, but that's the thing about Pedro Infante. He didn't start as an actor. He, someone saw potential in him.
Yeah.
And groomed him. And I think even I keep forgetting her name, La Abuelita de Mexico.
Sara Garcia.
Sara Garcia was also a big mentor for him that
Yeah.
taught him a lot of this stuff. So
Yeah.
All right, number 4.
Number 4.
Amorcito Corazón. Come on, right? That's got to be there. Did I spell it wrong?
Amorcito.
Amorcito. Don't make fun of me. Yeah, hey, I make fun of your English. You make fun of my Spanish. Fair enough.
No, I'm not.
Amorcito. Murciélago.
And that's very sweet. And that movie, it's called Nosotros los Pobres, right? And that song is he sings that with Blanca Estela Pavón. She does the whistle thing in that song.
What whistle thing? What?
Amorcito corazón, yo tengo tentación de un beso.
Oh. Yeah.
Exactly. And
oh, well, you did that good. Heck yeah.
Oh, thank you.
That was pretty good. Yeah, that was very like a bird. Good job.
Yeah, and tragic story about her as well. She died also in a plane crash.
That's like a popular thing for celebrities, right? Isn't that sad? I mean, think about how many.
She was just 27 when she died. Yeah,
oh my gosh, 27? Isn't
27.
that the number that a lot of like rock stars have died too?
Yes, Amy
What?
Winehouse.
Yeah.
Kurt Cobain died at
Kurt Cobain,
27.
yeah. Jimi Hendrix.
Janis Joplin.
Janis Joplin, the guy, what's his name from the Doors?
The Doors, Jim Morrison. Yes.
What?
The curse of the 27.
Dang. Well, I'm glad we passed that curse, Gabby.
Phew. We are
Salud for that.
older than Pedro Infante actually right now.
Salud, Pedro. We miss you up there, buddy.
Pedrito. Yes, we do. Oh, I love him.
Okay, let's go. Number 3.
Oh, Kukuru Kuku Paloma. That's amazing.
Kukuru
That's one of my favorite
Paloma.
songs. And that is a definitely drunk song.
That's a different drunk song. All right, last 2. Number 2.
Oh, I was tweeting about that one earlier.
100 años.
I love it.
All right, what do you think's number 1?
Number 1.
Hold on, let me get a drum roll.
Oh, number 1. A drunk song. Oh man, there's so many.
Ella.
Yes, I love that. Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
So it's a shame we cannot play those because we're going to be.
When you get flagged.
Yes, but
just picture them in your mind as you're, or pull them up on your Spotify after our podcast.
Yes. And grab a drink and listen to any of these 10 songs. Pedrito.
Yep.
Pedrito.
This is good. It's like going back memory lane and
oh yeah, for sure.
Getting the feels. Everybody hopefully.
And to this day, I mean, he passed in 1957, and to this day, every year on his anniversary, people go to the cementerio. I personally keep playing his songs every chance I have. We have a channel, and I don't remember. I think it's called De Película, and every weekend they play movies. And this is an inside joke with my father-in-law, because we're like, what movie are they playing this weekend? And we were like betting, is this one, and this what is they're like, of course, a lot of popular ones, but yeah, to this day, that's insane. That's why we were saying, like, there's absolutely no way you don't know who that is.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
So sorry.
No, I was gonna say, just to wrap up this segment as we go into the last one, and he also, was known for his acting quite a bit. Like we talked about his playing the drunk, but one of the ones that he actually did win an award, I think it was in a Berlin movie festival, was for his movie Tizoc.
Yes.
And That one was one that was he actually got a recognition
Yeah.
outside of Mexico, and he has a star in Hollywood.
Yes, he does. He
Mm-hmm.
does, of course. So that's what I'm saying. Like maybe worldwide, and I think he should be recognized because
Yep.
he has a star in Hollywood.
Yeah. So let's talk about, as we wrap up now, let's go and talk about his current legacy, where he stands now. So here are some of the things I just pulled up of some of the images that I feel like shows where he currently stands in today. Well, Google, when he had his, I think it was his 100th anniversary or something.
Yeah.
They actually used it, used his Google for his Google search. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Coco, right?
Yeah, Ernesto de la Cruz. Ernesto de la Cruz was inspired in his image. Of course, Ernesto de la Cruz was a mean character in the movie. If you haven't watched that,
I don't like that part.
Yeah, me neither. But he was inspired in his image in Ernesto de la Cruz. And also, Pedro Infante, there's a cameo of him in Coco.
Yeah, because the one on the left kind of looks like the one of his other movies where he was a carpenter, I think.
Pepe el Toro.
Pepe Toro, that's what.
Yeah.
And the one on the right, I think is more. He looks more like a Jorge Negrete because of mustache.
Yes.
Yeah. Because
yeah.
Right away when you see the mustache of the villain of Coco, is this like Pedro Infante's mustache?
Yeah. And when I first saw the trailer, I remember when I first saw Coco, and I was like, oh my god, that's Pedro Infante. Later on, watching the movie, like, no, he's not.
No.
But his image was inspired.
His image, yeah. I don't. Again, when I saw that, I didn't like the fact that he was portrayed that way. But then I realized it was his image. It wasn't him. And then of course they added this way here. I'm like, okay, I see it now.
Yeah. But again, to this day, new generations can know about him, even though he passed like a long time ago.
Over 103 years ago. It's gonna be 104 this November, Gabby. No, his birthday. His birthday.
Born. Yeah, he passed in 1957.
57. Okay. I'm not a math guy, so that's why I need you. Okay. So, and then the last one.
Horoscope lady. I'm not the math lady.
She's the horoscope lady. And then to wrap up, I told Gabby about this one. They have to make a mock. What do they call that again? A mocu-series about him. I would watch it. I would totally watch it
for sure.
In a heartbeat. Like Hollywood, Netflix. Yes. Like anybody listening, we need a docu-series of Pedro Infante's life.
Infante, of course. There's a lot of material.
Because what do we get right now in 2019, I think it was, or 18? We got this.
Okay.
Como Caí del Cielo, which is not. It's a comedy. And the premise of this one is that Pedro Infante is in purgatory, and he's trying to get to heaven, and basically because his being mujeriego, they're not going to send him there. So he comes back to this world in Omar Chaparro's body, trying to redeem himself from being a mujeriego. So that's the premise of the movie. So watch it. Let me know what you think of it. I thought it was entertaining. Gabi is skeptical. She's like,
I have to confess, I didn't watch it. The minute, and this is nothing against Omar Chaparro at all.
No, at all?
No, at all. But the minute, again, me being a great fan of his, the minute I saw, again, I thought I was wrong because I thought he was playing Pedro Infante, but he's not. So that changes my perspective of it. But at the beginning, I was like, hell no. Hell no, he's not portraying Pedro Infante. I'm not watching blah, 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 blah. And then my mom was like, okay, I get it, but he's not. He's just blah, 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 what you just said. And I just never watched it, but I promise I will.
Yeah,
just
if you
get an opinion.
Yeah, if you've seen it, let us know what you think out there.
Yeah.
I thought it was entertaining. I still want a legit movie of his. They got cast somebody good. Hey,
who can play him? Hey, see, okay, you can promote yourself right now.
I can promote myself.
You have to sing, and you have to practice with your tiny guitar.
It's not tiny. It's normal size.
It's normal size. It's just big.
Amarcito corazón, watch out. Coming at you 2022. Pedro Infante, played by yours truly, El Stache. So let's wrap it up in our final segment about Gabi. What are some urban legends? What kind of research did you find out about His
Okay, this is
passing, as we know, really quick, right? He passed away in a plane crash, as we
yeah,
talked about. It was because of the whole marriage situation. He had to fly back, and he was in where was he at? Is it Mochi or
Mérida. He was in
Merida?
Mérida,
He was in
Yucatan.
Merida. Had to go to Ciudad de Mexico, right?
Yeah.
And chartered a plane last minute, and unfortunately, it didn't go very far. It was actually pretty close, right?
10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when it was in the air, 10 minutes later, it crashed.
Yep.
And they say it was because it was estaba muy pesado. The airplane was like
had a lot of cargo. It was like a cargo plane.
It was a cargo plane because, again, it was around Semana Santa, this holiday, Easter, and he couldn't catch a commercial plane. So he had this friend, and he was like, "Hey, yeah, his friend, the pilot. His name was Victor Vidal, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. He was like, "Hey, I have this plane, this cargo plane. Can come join me as my co-pilot, and I can fly you to Mexico City." Okay, cool. So he couldn't catch a commercial plane, so he catched this one, and unfortunately, 10 minutes in the air, the plane crashed, killing all 3 passengers in the plane and 2 people in the ground, unfortunately.
Yeah, one of them was like a young girl hanging clothes.
A young girl.
Mhm.
She just finished doing laundry, and she was hanging clothes, and unfortunately the explosion got to her and this other 14-year-old boy that was also on the street, and yeah, he got on fire and unfortunately didn't make it. So that makes 5 people that died that day because of that crash.
Right.
Pedro Infante was only 39 years old. And there are a lot of myths around his death. Actually, 20 something years ago, no, maybe more, people were saying that he was still alive, that it was this urban legend, that he was still living in Merida somewhere, and he was like this very old man, but he would eventually sing, and people like would, whoa, that's Pedro Infante, and he looked so much like him. And I also heard about another conspiracy theory, which I don't believe it's true, but I mean, just worth mentioning, that he was kidnapped just minutes before getting on the plane because the Mexican government wanted him to disappear, and because his kidnappers were like huge fans of him, they were like, okay, we're going to forgive you and spare your life, and they didn't kill him, and they just asked him to be away from everyone and everything, away from cameras and everything, and that's why some people said that he was still living in Merida. But I don't think that's true.
Was there one about alien kidnapping too, or no?
I don't remember that. But they also had they recognized, even though his body was like extremely burned, and they were not able to recognize it like for facial features or anything. In one previous plane crash, exactly, he had a metal plate placed in his head because he had a skull fracture, and he almost died right there. But he made it through, and he had this metal thing placed into his head, and he had like this huge gold bracelet, and that's why and how they were able to recognize his body. And they could say that, yeah, Pedro Infante is gone.
Yeah, no, again, it's funny how we, here in the US, a lot of stories around like Elvis Presley still being alive. We see him out there, these stories. He's basically kind of like our Elvis, when it comes to those myths, right? A lot of urban legends. Yeah. No, I find them very interesting, and again, wouldn't that be amazing though, if he did like survive and there's all of a sudden he came back? But that's just a lot of us holding on to his legend, his legacy. Right.
Yeah, and that's another thing about this like huge stars like Elvis, and that they go so soon that this legend emerges. Like maybe if he made it like really old, or maybe he didn't have that same impact later on in his life, or maybe if he had like this scandals with another women, or I don't know, maybe his career would be like off, in
We
some
don't know.
way, and it
Yeah.
maybe wouldn't work out. And I mean, sometimes that is why what is so unpredictable and so like legend like, because they like disappear and the legend um is born
Yeah,
like right
legend is
there.
born. It lives on, right? How many of us, would love to have, our legacy like that, right? Where
Yeah,
people remember us forever,
forever, exactly, forever, to this day,
forever.
again, to this
So
day.
again, unfortunately, to wrap up, he was also taken advantage of when it comes to his finances, right? As we were doing our research, we found out that he wasn't really good with money, so he put someone in charge that he trusts apparently at the time. But as soon as he left, once again, they kept it greed, and he kept it for himself and didn't help any of his family members. Gabi, what did you find out about that? Because I know that he supported a lot of family members, including his mom.
Yeah, his mom, I think his sister, one of his sisters and brothers, everyone was
A
like,
lot.
he supported a lot of them because of, well, of course he was famous, he was rich, and he could, and he wanted to.
Hmm.
So yeah, he adopted a niece from his sister, and unfortunately when he passed, he had he didn't have like money problems. He had a lot of estate, he had a lot of properties, and he had money. But this lawyer, this person that he put in charge of his money, took advantage and took everything, unfortunately, and left his mother and everybody that depended on him, money wise, left with barely anything. And I think even his kids didn't get like that much of money and his estates. His houses were sold. I think his house in Merida was like sold and destroyed, and this man got that house for very cheap, and he restored it and made it a hotel to this day. It's called the Infante something in
Hmm.
Merida, and his room is a small museum, so that's very nice. But yeah, other than that, all of his relatives and everybody that was dependent on him money wise was just left by themselves, unfortunately. And this person took everything. And this one segment about the documentary I saw earlier, that his wife and his mom went to see this guy, this person, and it was like, hey, it's another month. I think it was like 6 months before he passed, and hey, we need money for this, and
Hmm.
he was like, you're not getting anything else from him.
That's sad.
That's very sad and unfortunate. And his mother died a year and 7 months later, I think.
Yeah.
She
I
was
mean, I
like,
could just imagine the heartbreak and
yeah,
everything,
yeah, yeah.
So, sad way, a tragic way to end, his life, but his legacy and everything he's given Mexico, both in Mexico and the U.S.,
Mm-hmm.
continues to this day. We still remember him for his movies, for everything he's done, his amazing, contribution to the community. But also, what I learned from him is also somebody who took care of himself. Man, I still am impressed of how he took care of himself and his discipline.
Yeah.
I think I heard he would get up at 5 a.m. to run, exercise, and had a busy day. I could just imagine what his day looked like for back then.
Mm-hmm.
But he was born in November, so this is what we have to get some kind of like what's coming as we get to our last few minutes. What sign was Pedro Infante?
I think he was a Scorpio.
Scorpio, I think
I
so
think
too.
he was a
Hmm.
Scorpio. He
So
was
what
born
were
in
some things from
November.
his horoscope that you see
Okay,
in his
he's a
life?
ladies' man. There you go.
Scorpio's a ladies' man?
Yeah, they're like very sexually energized. Yeah,
Okay.
Scorpios are like the king of the sexual energy and the zodiac line. So yeah, that says
makes
a
sense.
lot. That makes sense, right, people? So don't tell me horoscopes are BS, because it's true. It's true. So yeah, and they all he's also like very charismatic and very angelical and very yeah, Scorpio.
Wow. That's crazy.
There you go.
I'm not gonna tell my dad that. My dad's a Scorpio, and I don't see him as that.
Don't ask your
But I guess it makes sense. He has he just recently I have a sister who's 8 years old, so he's still very active. So there you
Really?
go. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. So somebody call security, please. All right.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
All right, so we're gonna wrap up today. So we learned a lot, Gabby. So thank you again for doing your research and all your amazing wisdom.
This was fun because again, I love him. I mean, it's not a coincidence that one of my children is named after him.
Oh, nice.
Well, also because my dad's name is Pedro, but it's like the two things. My dad and Pedro Infante. There's no secret. I love him. I see every movie every chance I have, even though I haven't watched the 60 movies, but every chance there's a movie on TV, I'm watching. Also, I don't know if in the US this is available, but on Amazon Prime, there's a lot of movies of Pedro Infante available.
Oh, I don't think we have them in Amazon. I think you can buy them, but I mean, YouTube has them all.
Oh yeah, there you go. YouTube has them.
Maybe
all.
the quality is not the best, right? People uploading it and stuff, but there's a lot of places you can find them. It sounds like in Mexico you had kind of like was it the Turner Classic Movie Channel in here in the US, but in yours it's called something else where they showed the old golden, yeah.
Yeah.
So go watch them if you haven't seen them. If this is the first time you heard of Pedro Infante, maybe you heard of him but you never seen his movie. I challenge you. I encourage you. Go watch him and immerse yourself in that era, in that culture, in that beautiful time in Mexico where. Honestly, if I can go back in time, I would teleport myself there just to be a part of the fiesta, enjoy the good food, and just soak it all in, right? That would be an amazing opportunity for me to do that. Maybe it could be another episode. What would you go back in time to? But I think this will be one of them. This will be one of my top ones.
And again, we were asking about who is the greatest Mexican idol of all time. I'm sure there are plenty, but the only one I can think about. Like that comes to my mind, even though he passed a long time ago, is Pedro Infante. So
there you go. That's Gabby. And for me, I would say he's up there too, but there's so many good ones también. But he's definitely one of my top two. You can go on, right? I mean, there's so many that are iconic, and there's some today that are doing amazing things, but not at that level. 60 movies at 39, what he's accomplished, over 350 or plus songs. He's I don't think we can replicate that, in that time frame. So but thank you again for listening to us. Don't forget to subscribe. Please follow us. Share this podcast with your friends, family, people that can relate, that will love to hear from the Stache Show and the Lash Show. Again, we really con mucho amor signing off. It's Stache
and the Lash. Goodbye.
Later, y'all.
Bye.
Amorcito corazón, yo tengo tentación de un beso.